Dubai. Uncontrolled speculation, fragmented social structure, calamitous environmental practices, all wound up in an aesthetic cacophony that reflects either a new model of urbanity or a crisis of unprecedented scale. As land and building sales change many hands on their way to highly inflated values, end users don't always enter the picture. Socioeconomic and class divisions are vividly apparent in enclaves housing these groups, from over-the-top resorts to walled middle-class districts to worker camps. Wasteful, sprawling development patterns and carefree user practices register the world's largest carbon footprint. Competing architectural forms proclaim new records and obscure achievements. Where do these development patterns lead Dubai? KDG's proposal to avert the crisis is organized around a set of paradoxical principles, values that attack the threatening crisis head-on, transforming Dubai from a fragile bubble city to the Middle East's most heroic urban model. The scarcity principle will guide the future city of Dubai. The scarcity principle establishes the basis of the proposition. By prohibiting development everywhere in the Emirate except for a limited number of highly concentrated urban centers, the most cohesive communities are founded. The least environmental impact occurs. Urban icons are magnificently structured. The highest value is created. The metro area sprawls westward, with city-sanctioned phases of expansion. By 2020, the developed city size will be tripled and transportation strain will follow. Dubai's carbon footprint ranks amongst the world's worst. And Dubai officials are suddenly interested in green buildings. In spring 2008, the city issued a mandate for LEED-certified buildings. But what are the real benefits of such an idea? 1,000 LEED-certified platinum buildings spread across in Dubai would consume dramatically more energy than the same number of non-LEED buildings organized within a dense urban context. Furthermore, the sprawling development pattern separates groups of transient expats. Gated resorts for the upper class, middle-class mazes, and service workers' camps. Across the Emirate, land value varies dramatically. Existing land value is connected to water, access, and urban centers. Those assets will need to be recognized in a new proposal. However, a dilemma exists amidst all this commotion. It simply may not be sustainable, economically, environmentally, or socially. An alternative proposal can be derived from a critical examination of historic and contemporary development patterns in the Middle East. For example, enduring Middle Eastern principles may find applicability in the contemporary city. The linear city, a non-hierarchical urban fabric, compact and cellular form, bourgeoisie access to paradise-like urban gardens, and seasonal shifting, namely from exterior to interior spaces. First, by prohibiting further development in the 1,588 square mile emirate except at several highly concentrated urban centers, the current pattern of sprawl is halted. Paradoxically, greater development value is established by limiting the supply of developable land. Such land scarcity will naturally build value in the new city, ultimately exceeding that achievable by covering the entire emirate with the current development pattern. The rectangle is restricted from growth on its long sides. Several strategies are used to contain the development. First, a superpodium, built incrementally, lifts the city off the desert floor. Second, a harsh and unwelcoming desert edge envelops the city, where heat exhaust and solar reflection make up for an intentionally hostile environment. And last, an envelope of land owned by KDG, held as a conservation easement, acts as a growth boundary. The planned shape of the city itself forms a strong, centralized figure that naturally resists corruption by external additions, reinforcing the legislated development prohibitions with psychological and cultural inhibitions. You're either in or you're out. The rectangle is sized in its short dimension to facilitate crosstown walking and access to public transit, which will operate in a longitudinal direction along the central axis of the plan.